Do you wish you were in couples counseling, but your husband won't go? Well, you're not alone. In fact, many women spend several years urging their husbands to get help, either as a couple or as an individual, even. They chalk his refusal up to his stubbornness and unwillingness to admit that he's wrong, or complaints that it takes too much time and costs too much. However, men actually have very good reasons to avoid that counseling office. Hi, I'm Dr. Debbie. As a clinical psychologist, I worked with men in counseling for more than 25 years, sometimes individually, but often with their wives. In the process, I learned a whole lot about a man's hopes, his fears, his dreams, and his disappointments. Now I want to share that information with you, so let's dive in. So, why do men refuse to go to couples counseling? Well, there are a lot of reasons. Here's the first three that come to mind. Number one, shame. Seeking counseling breaks the number one rule of masculinity: don't be weak. Men learn that as boys. By the time they enter kindergarten, they've already learned the rules at a deep emotional level. The rules are actually essential to their identity as a member of the male gender. To break those rules means certain shame, his vulnerability exposed in front of his peers. Number two, going to couples counseling is volunteering for emotional suicide mission. Being open and vulnerable, yet able to handle the onslaught of emotions that brings, is a major goal of psychotherapy. And most therapists, male and female alike, totally ignore the fact that men are far more sensitive from birth than are women. They fail to acknowledge that he has his defenses up for a very good reason. And instead, the therapist tries to get through that wall at any cost, usually by attacking, blaming, and criticizing. Sometimes it's subtle and other times it's not so subtle. Okay, number three, couples counseling doesn't offer much hope for a man. Sadly, too many counselors choose sides. They're not thinking about the man's needs, his emotional needs. They're only thinking about the fact that he's disengaged. So the cycle continues and intensifies even during the session. I've heard so many stories about counselors who just sit there while the wife attacks her husband. Then they recap what she's so upset about. That type of intervention perpetuates his fear and makes him want to run, or at least not return for another session. Even the kindest, most well-intentioned, most well-trained counselor can miss this. So if you want your husband to go to counseling with you and he won't, what can you do about it? Well, realize you have far more power than you know. Schedule an appointment for yourself and just invite him to join you. In other words, tell him you want to work on yourself and let him know you'd like his input in the safety of the counseling office. Instead of trying to change him with more of the same strategies that have never worked, why not take a whole new approach? Grow in wisdom, confidence, and an awareness of how you influence his thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Then learn to use your wisdom, confidence, and influence in new, more productive ways. I know what you're probably thinking. No, you're not responsible for what he does. Those are his choices to make. However, you, as his wife, do have the responsibility to learn how what you say and do influences his choices. In fact, you were created to influence him, and he's designed physically, emotionally, and spiritually to be influenced by you. Not controlled, influenced. I hope this makes you think a little bit. We'll talk again soon.